And Mary brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes. Luke 2:7. Swaddling clothes. What in the world is that? It's pieces of cloth, if available, linen. And they would take babies and wrap them up in cloth, swaddling clothes to keep them warm. Sometimes they would put salt on it to add to the warmth, and it had medicinal values. Here is God coming into history, time and space. How would he make his entrance? What would he do? When Jesus took off his robe of glory and came into the world, was born of a virgin, and here was Almighty God wrapped up in human skin. Think about that. Jesus, God, came into life, human life, divine but human, wrapped up in epidermis. What an inglorious beginning. What is that all about? God was making himself known to all the world that had been questioning since the dawn of the beginning. What is God like? What would God have you to do? What is God about in the world? Does God care? Are we all deists? He just created this world and wound it up and looked down and said, okay, gang, lots of luck down there. No, in the fullness of time, fulfilling prophecy with the infinite, unbelievable patience of the Almighty, God came in human flesh, divine, a gift. A gift. Think about it. Jesus born, all that went around, all of that event, the wise men, the shepherds, Simeon, Annas, all of it. And then before he was 2 years old, he was a refugee. They had to leave on threat of execution. And then Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist, but before that he went to the temple, and we see Jesus gradually is revealing himself. See, he came as a gift, and now gradually the divine part of Jesus, wrapped up in human flesh, begins to make itself known to people. We see a little bit there, a 12-year-old in the temple, and they said about him as a 12-year-old, he grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God, in favor with man. He's gradually unwrapping himself. Wrapped up in human flesh, he's unwrapping himself, showing a little bit of the divinity as his life developed. In his baptism, his temptation by the devil, his call of his apostles, miracles were performed, astounding miracles. And then the Sermon on the Mount, those fundamental principles that stand beyond any kind of critique. And then we see his high priestly prayer, John 17, on and on it goes to the Garden of Gethsemane. He grappled with the will of God in his humanity, yet revealed his divinity when he said, Father, thy will be done. Not my will, but thy will be done. Teaching us all along the way about God. Until finally, he who was perfect experienced the most gross injustice anyone who has ever lived experienced. He was perfect, was crucified, demonstrating the love of God for everybody, because in his execution, all of your sin and my sin was executed there with him. if we give permission, if we receive him as that gift of love. And then Easter, the resurrection. What can you say about that? Dead 3 days, God raised him from the dead. He came back with a prototype of the resurrection body that all of us will have once we graduate from this earth. Unbelievable affirmation of the validity of the truth of that prophecy, fulfilled right before the eyes of literally thousands of witnesses. And he ascended into heaven, and there he's at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for you and for me when we call upon him with a humble prayer or with a prayer of praise and worship. Isn't that something? Wrapped up in swaddling clothes, divinity wrapped up in human flesh, gradually unwrapping himself, showing us exactly the nature and character of God. No questions can be asked. No one can stumble and say, well, I wonder what God would have me to do. I wonder. There it all is. The total package, ladies and gentlemen, the total package, gift wrapped, ready for you and for me with our free will to receive that gift and invite him into our life. And when we invite Jesus Christ into your life, into my life, guess what happened? He begins to unwrap himself, revealing more and more of himself. There is salvation when we receive Christ. We receive that gift that he's offering to us. Then there is sanctification. That is simply growing up in our faith. We're worship, we read the Bible, we study, we understand truth. That is a process of our maturity. Then there's glorification. When we leave this world, we're glorified. We're with him, with that resurrection body. What a complete package he's offering to you and to me. All the time, every day, but especially in Christmas. This is a tender time. It's a time of remembrances, a time of celebration, a time of family. But I pray for some who are in the sound of my voice. Christmas 2020, everybody says, boy, 2020 was the toughest year we've ever experienced. I don't know about that. But the end of 2020 can be the greatest moment in the experience of your life. Because Jesus today has come by his Spirit, and he's offering to anyone who will receive him a gift. It's the greatest gift anybody can ever have. That's the total package. It's the gift of Jesus Christ. He wants to give it to anybody and everybody. And in this package, in this gift, guess what? There's a brand new life. Does anybody want a moment of starting over again? As a father, I'd like to sort of redo some of my fathering. Most fathers would say that. Most mothers would say that. But in Jesus Christ, we come right now, have a brand new life. That's the reason the figure being born again. That's what happens. And that's the gift he's offering this Christmas. If you're here and you've never received the gift of Jesus, and he's not unwrapping himself in your life, this is the time to do it. If you're not sure you've done it, this is the time to do it. So in a minute, we're going to sing a chorus, a very familiar chorus of Christmas. I'm going to invite people to get up out of the top balcony. There's a few up there, middle balcony. Social distancing, all in display before us. And invite you to come up, and I want to give you this gift. It's wrapped up. Inside is a Bible for you, the best physical symbol we can give for someone who receives the gift of Christ. And incidentally, there's a survey a few years back that I bumped into recently that says that when you give a gift and it's gift wrapped paper, all the ribbon around it, we deem that gift as more important. I didn't know that. Us guys, we just say, here it is, babe, here's the gift. But when it's gift wrapped with beauty, with colorful paper, with ribbons. Surveys say people think it's much more valuable, and it is. And it is. Jesus came in swaddling clothes. Jesus was God in human flesh, wrapped up in epidermis, and he comes and he offers himself to us. Gift wrapped. Come and receive that gift.